for you that they've shot.
Let's talk about carbon polluters. You talk about them. It's my understanding that back in 1997, when you were vice president, Enron's CEO, Ken Lay, was involved in discussions with you at the White House about helping develop this type of policy, this trading scheme. And is that accurate? Is it inaccurate? It's been reported.
I don't know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. And it goes on from there with them confronting him outside. But the point is, they split up so that as each one got thrown out, another one then activates. And it panics them. 1, they can handle. 2, they don't like. 3, they go crazy. 4, they start freaking. 5, they go nuts. 6, Al Gore cancels everything. Which really is what they have to do. Because if he keeps going out, all the headlines are about how he's a fraud, how he's making money, how it's eugenics. And so he's canceling these events. And at first he took them off his website. Now he's canceling them because he knows if he goes out, we take his media attention away from him. He'll now start phasing out his events as he's doing. I told you he would do this because I understand this warfare system that they've been using against us. We're now countering them with our own system, which I literally just stumbled on myself through trial and error trying to go to press conferences and ask real questions. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the true activism. This is 1,000,000 times more effective than mass protests where the cops come and have a provocateur throw a bottle at them so the cops then attack everybody. And I'm not saying don't have protests, but this is the way that they can't stop you. And it's not just Al Gore. Going back to Saad, going back to Steve, you guys, again, everybody there, give us the We Are Change Chicago website. Who else are you going to be out confronting? What other street actions are you doing? Finish up talking about the incredible job you did.
Well, everybody out there, just please join us by going to wearechangechicago.com, and you will see a section where you can join us. We have a weekly street action that we do every Sunday, usually at the Art Institute or the Belmont and Clark neighborhood, because we're trying to extend all around the city and to have a weekly thing where everybody can come out and be active once a week. And as for confrontations, we're planning... What do we have coming up for confrontation?
We have a UN ambassador to the United Nations coming up. So if anybody's in Chicago, please get a hold of We Are Change Chicago. Go to the website, join up, and join us in these conversations because it's strength in numbers. If we take 50 people out to these book signings, and we can totally just ask him as many questions as we want, and until he can't even take it over and walks away.
Now, we know Slimebag... We know, I mean, just real quick, because we're going to just keep going. We got Luke Radowski on as well, and Anthony and others coming up. We know that he's canceling most of his events. Have we been able to find out where this criminal is going to be next?
Well, we know that he's going to be in Chicago. Again, I believe it's March. Anthony knows a little bit better about that, but he might be here. I think it's March or May. He's going to be here again in Chicago. But if you just got to really go dig in and do some research, you'll find where he's going to be. I'll be looking myself. If I see anything, I'll shoot it to any We Are Change chapter or any chapter in that state.
Because they're only doing local coverage to keep us from learning on purpose. Before they would promote it everywhere. We need listeners who are everywhere in the country. You've heard it announced where he's coming in your area. Tell everybody on your email list, get it out so we can start tracking this criminal. Now, again, Assad and Steve, who hasn't had a chance to talk yet?
Steve.
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I just want to say it's great that you're covering this. You're waking people up, and it's infectious. Just yesterday, we had the Afghan impromptu war protest at Federal Plaza. People saw our We Are Change Chicago banner, and they were like, we saw it on InfoWars. We saw it. We didn't know we had a chapter, and now we know. So everybody out there, stop waiting for orders to get active. Just go find it, find a group, start your own, because me and Saad are just two guys that met because we had the same belief system. We knew we could do this. We knew we could take it over. We got the press coverage. We got the attention. Fox News called us. They wanted to have us on to cover this thing. So we understand that we can take this over. And I think the media, there are people out there waking up in the media because when WBBM reported on the Al Gore event, they said in their own broadcast that everybody in line with the book was allowed time with Al Gore except the media. So I think one of the big reasons we were able to get them on our side and actually cover us was I think they were just as angry as well for being shunned from Al Gore, and that's why everyone should be really upset, is there's no...
Exactly. Look. The average media person, the average cop, the average bureaucrat, they're just like us. They were told we were all kooks a decade ago.
Yes.
Now everything we talked about came true. They're all joining us now. This is how revolutions are won without firing a shot.
Exactly. I want to make one last point real quick. As we were, like, shouting and leaving, the media left Gore and followed us outside. So, like, all the media, like, when we were outside, we were actually taught, like, we didn't put this in the video, but we're actually, like, giving a speech to all the media. There's, like, cameras, and all the people, the programmed Goreans who are walking out of that bookstore were sitting there listening to us and asking us, wow, we didn't know this. Where can I get more information on where is climbing and what is it? So we're sitting there explaining to, like, over 50 people how everything, and including...
Well, you need to post that video now as part 2 so millions can see it. But what's happening is, again, they're having to not come out and have their events because they know it's a catalyst for the truth tellers to go out and counter their lies. They're hoping we just dissipate and go away. But ClimateGate isn't going away. 2 weeks ago when this came out, we got the equivalent of the Death Star plans. In the last couple days, the Death Star blew up. But the empire is still there. But literally, ladies and gentlemen, with the audit the Fed bill going forward, talk of blocking the reconfirmation of Bernanke, with ClimateGate in trouble, with all these professors getting in trouble, the cap and trade bill failing that was going to pass in Australia, the Death Star blew up. I mean, we just blew up one of their biggest operations. It is in tatters. They're still going to operate covertly, locally. I want to bring you guys up with Luke Radowski and others straight ahead.
Wake up, infidels, blow up the Death Star. Wake up, infidels, you paid for this war. Wake up, infidels, blow up the Death Star.
With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
All right, we're back live, ladies and gentlemen. This is, ladies and gentlemen, bottom line. This is bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, the equivalent of the Death Star. This is their grid, their world government to train everybody to have our resources cut off, to kill the third world and turn us into an absolute third world slum ourselves. This is the plan to use economic tyranny to make us be so poor we can't stand up against them. Governments have always used poverty as a tool of control. Now, going back to my guest, because we've got We Are Change founder Luke Radowski on the line. I meant to get Luke on, and somehow that fell through the cracks. I'm glad we were able to get a hold of him. Luke, and I want to get Anthony on from Ohio, who was involved with Chicago, who may have discovered the location of the snake's next event, al-gore. But expanding on this, Luke, what is it like to see just the people rising and taking over the media attention and literally running Al Gore to ground?
I mean, it's incredible seeing the true authority and power we all have in ourselves. And it's us realizing that power that is really going to take back this country and take back our lives. Our lives have meanings. We are something in this world, and we're going to make something happen. And I just published an article on Russia Today just talking about this. The new dawn of a new age of muckraking is upon us, and we are taking advantage. We are taking the airways away from these corporations, and we are speaking truth to power to everybody. And the more we keep doing this, the more everybody's going to see the real truth behind everything. Global warming, 9/11, Khalik Sheikh Mohammed. We are doing the job of the mainstream media, and people are seeing that, and we are going to be successful.
I tell you, didn't Chicago do a splendid precision job the way they worked Gore over?
I love Chicago. Shouts out to also Colorado, who confronted Al Gore, ripped up his book in the book signing. But also here in New York City, I have to shout out Danny Penzella, Matt Lepasic, and Heather Lamastro here in New York. They confronted Al Gore, too. I'm going to be working on that video today. And just like, Matt Lepasic just came up to him and said, aren't the ice glaciers melting on other planets as well? They literally grabbed him, threw him away, and then the same thing that Chicago did, screamed. I mean, the technique that we have is impenetrable. What we're doing, what Chicago and Colorado and all these wonderful, beautiful people are doing, it cannot be stopped. We are doing this non-violently, peacefully, taking over the airways, and it's beautiful and it's amazing. And I'm so proud of seeing so many other people just standing up for themselves and doing the right thing.
Do you agree with my analogy that 2 weeks ago we got the Death Star plans, and the last 2 or 3 days the Death Star blew up? I mean, literally, their man-made global warming fraud is imploding in flames right now.
Yes, we have the information. We have the knowledge, but that knowledge is nothing unless we use it. That knowledge is power and authority. We now have to use that power and authority to tell the people what's really happening, to save this country from the cap-and-trade bill, from the Copenhagen Treaty. We have to understand we have to act and activate right now. Information and knowledge is nothing unless we act on it.
Absolutely. Now is the time. I had Lord Monckton on last week. He'll be reporting for us next week from Copenhagen. And I said, we're 2 minutes to midnight. He said, no, we're 2 seconds to midnight.